Hello, everybody, and welcome to Royal Fish Aquatics. Well, today's live stream, like you read the title, is about keeping and breeding live bears, which is something we enjoy a lot here at Royal Fish Aquatic. Is breeding these live bears with all the guppies that we have right now. We have a few swordtails that we're working on, some mollies, some platys. So, thank you for joining me. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Well, mainly live bears is a big passion of ours, like I said, and there are like four families of live bears out there, which are your mollies, your platys, your guppies, your swordtails, and mosquito fish. You probably thought I just said four families, named five different types of fish. That's because platys and swordtails are they're pretty much the same genus. Only one developed the sword, which is the male, and the female doesn't have the sword. She looks very much like a platy. That's why you could interbreed them. Guppies and mollies could breed together if it happens. You get muppies, I think they're called, but they can't breed after that. If you create a strain with a platy and a swordtail, you can keep on breeding because they're still in the same family and everything. The female retains the eggs in the stomachs in these live bears, so the eggs hatch inside and they give birth to live fish and everything. That's why it's great to have plants, with live bears, but we'll get more into that about the habitat for them. Um, some people give them a title of a beginner fish. I think they're just a great fish to have. They're very easy to keep. I wouldn't say beginner, but it's a good way to introduce people into the hobby, especially people that get into the hobby and they first get a small tank. There are smaller fish to keep in your tank, and it makes it a lot easier for you to maintain them and everything. So live bears are very native to the southeastern United States, Mexico, Central America, northern South America, and even in the Caribbean. You find a lot of these fish in the wild and everything. They have made their way up to Asia and everything, especially the mosquito fish, because mosquito control of Malaysia and stuff like that. Just like in Florida, we have gotten cichlids from other places and everything. So yes, I mean they're native to Central, North, South America, you know, the lower south of the United States and everything. But especially guppies and mosquitoes fish have been introduced to a lot of places over the world. Asia and Africa are some places where they've been on. They live very well in a tropical, subtropical region and everything. So live bears love warmer temperature and everything. They're real easy to keep in warmer temperatures. They're tropical fish. Their habitat streams, rivers, pools, lakes, and any type of environmental places where they've been introduced to and everything. Now, like I said, they're very simple, easy fish to keep in your tanks and everything. But live bears do like hard alkaline water. That's another thing. They breed better. They do a lot better in that hard alkaline water. And farms these days have sold them and made them into such a different varieties and different conditions than the wild fish that you find. Actually, pretty soon I'm going to be showing you guys some wild Florida sailfin mollies. I got them in a tank down here, and I'm going to be doing a video about those. I got some wild mollies and how completely different they look. They're a lot larger. Um, and they're not solid colors. And in time, in farms, people will sit there and selectively breed the fish to get the color they want. We'll get into breeding a little bit later on in the live stream and everything. But that's how you got these captive bred colors and everything. Because technically, a fish that's bright yellow, bright red out there in the environment that these fish live in, they'll be eaten a lot faster than a fish that camouflages better. That's more that wild look to it, the gray silver looks to it. Still very beautiful fish. They're real large, big fins, and sometimes the farms will introduce a wild fish back into their strain just to get hardiness and to get size back into their breed. Because if you notice, a lot of mollies are a lot smaller than their wild mollies, and wild platys and And wild guppies are a lot larger. You find a nice female wild guppy and you breed her into your line and you keep that color, but it helps create the males bigger and everything. He's actually a more sort out fish. People will want to buy that fish more from you and everything. So they're often found too in brackish water. Some people like to put, was it like a teaspoon per gallon or something like that, but they do keep them in salt water. But these fish have been bred so much in captivity that a lot of lines that you buy from people, they were created and they were bred in somebody's home aquarium that were not using salt. So they could usually now live in an aquarium without salt very well. Live bears, like I said, they're subtropical and tropical fish, and they like to be in about 74, 78 degrees. Um, I noticed about 80 degrees, they do great, and they breed a lot faster for you and create some nice fry. As long as you keep them fed well, you could keep a lot of your fry alive and everything. They will eat their young, but we'll get more into that when we talk about breeding too and everything. If aquariums kept at room temperature 74, or lower, they say put a heater. Um, we have bred a lot of fish here outside and gone through a southern Florida winter, which a few nights might get below 30, but that water would still drop about to the 60s. By the time morning comes, sun warms them up and everything, it'll get back up. But they'll survive even through that. So too depends where you're getting your fish from and how they're breeding them. The better condition, you might need more than likely you need a heater. But if they were bred outside, they could survive 74 without a heater. They just won't thrive and they won't breed for you in a long term, in a long time like that. Now there are top mid-water swimmer and everything, and they're best between a 5 to 20 gallon tank. A lot of my guppies right here above me, these are colonies of guppies in 10-gallon tanks. They're doing well, but I'm ready to upgrade them to 20, 25-gallon containers to get the colony going bigger. But if you're just keeping them just to have a few fish in your tank and everything, depends how many you have. But yeah, 5 to 20 gallons is best. Larger, they'll do a lot better in a larger tank. I have seen people do big 30, 40, 50-gallon tanks with tons of guppies in there, especially just male guppies. And it looks wonderful with some plants and everything. When they're less stressed out, that's when you see the colors the best. So in live bears, you want to keep them nice and comfortable, and you will see those bright colors, those nice colors that people selectively bred them for and everything. Decorative, dark bottom aquariums with modern currents. Keep the secure lid because they are jumpers. They could jump on the tank on you and everything. So you do want to keep a lid, something covered to the top, because you will wake up in the morning and have that fish on the ground. Um, in general, live bears are peaceful and good community fish. The males have more colors than the females in live bears, but um, the females will be bigger, and the males could get aggressive with each other. Even though they're considered a peaceful fish, boys will be boys, and things could happen. They could fight over the girls. So in live bears, your females are more and more the peaceful ones. When you have a male around some females, the males get aggressive. Now you can keep tanks, like I said, with just male, and that aggression won't be there because there's no females around. So if there's no girls around, they're not fighting. So you can keep a whole bunch of males together. Now, if you are breeding or you want to have a few of them together, males and females, you want to do 2 to 3 females for every male. First, they will stress the girls out chasing them because they are horn dogs and they want to breed all the time. And second, if you got 6 females and 2 males, less fighting. They'll be chasing girls around, and there's more girls in the tank than boys, so they're happy that way and everything. These fish kept in the right conditions and everything, well taken care of. a good diet, it could be 5 to 7 years. You could have this fish live and everything. And you could put other fish with them. Just know what you're putting inside your tank. Um, when you get advice, when you go into the stores and you get advice on what fish you should put with your fish, the best thing is listen to your local aquarium clubs. There's Facebook groups, um, or your local LFS, not your big box stores, because these are employees going in and out of these stores. They really don't know much about fish, and all they're gonna do is tell you, yeah, whatever, sell your fish, bag it up, here you go, bye, have a good day. They're not passionate in the hobby. So for live bears, tetras do good and everything. Rasboras, Daniels, some of the peaceful barbs and rainbow fish and everything. But like I said, do your research a little bit more, because those fish that I named and everything, there's so many different varieties and everything. So you want to know a little bit more and ask questions. Other people that have live bears, what they have with them. I have even kept angelfish with live bears, even though angelfish are a cichlid, but they're one of more your peaceful cichlids and everything. As long as the angels I have in there, they're young and they're not breeding and trying to, take care of a group of fry, they really won't attack your live bears and bother them and everything. They could fin nip on the smaller live bears, like your guppies and your mosquito fish, but I actually kept them with swordtails and I've kept them with mollies, and they're some of your bigger live bears, so they do well with that and everything. Now, when I was talking about keeping them living, 5 to 7 years and everything, I did mention a good diet. So on their diet, guys, these fish are not very, very picky. They're not very picky eaters and everything. They're omnivores, so they could eat vegetable, they could eat meat. You'll notice if a fish dies in your tank, they will still nip at it, and actually eat the other fish that was there. So we usually pull them out because we don't want water conditions getting bad. But they will eat other dead fish. Live bears will eat their own youngs. They're hungry. They're not well fed. They're known to eat the fry. There's nothing better than some delicious baby fry, right? So you want to use a good flake food or some real tiny crushed pellets or anything like that. Spirulina powders are good and everything. Keep them nice and healthy. If you have plecos in that tank, I throw green beans in my pleco tanks and everything. And because in some of these tanks I have baby plecos that I'm raising up, the guppies will eat up too some of the green beans and everything. And it's a little treat, to keep them going good. You want when you throw the food in the tank, it wants to be eaten in about 2 minutes. That type of rule and everything. Once or twice a day. Oh, brine shrimp is another thing that's good for them. Baby brine shrimp, especially to raise the fry and everything. Brine shrimp. The little frozen cubes of bloodworms. Yeah, they make them in brine shrimp. They make them in all different little things. The little square cubes you get stored too, frozen food. They're great to throw in the tanks for them, and they will actually, eat that stuff. And it's good treats and keeps them healthy. Now, let's get into the breeding part of live bears. Breeding live bears is easy, and some people just it happens for them. Like they get a big group, and some people just have issues. And usually the issues are water condition. They do like the harder water. So if your system that you have is doesn't give none of that hardness and everything, especially RO water. That's what's thinking the word RO water. There's some places here in Florida that the city provides them RO water, and they have more of a problem raising, some of your live bears in that type of water. So you always want to make sure the water's in the condition that they thrive in. Because when you mean thriving, that means they're willing to breed, and produce babies because they seem a happy environment to create a family. So, diet. They got to be plenty of food and everything. They love little treats like I was naming just a few minutes ago and everything. So you want to give them good food so they could breathe. You have healthy fish. Healthy fish create healthy fry, and that's the key thing to get your fry a nice start. And that means the parents got to be 100% for you to create some of the best fry and raise them up to a sellable fish. If that's your goal is breeding, you're gonna end up selling these because they create big groups and they breed every month. I mean, the female could hold um, the male's juice for 3 months. So usually, if you buy a female and you don't know where she came from, usually you quarantine her away from any male for 90 days. And after 90 days, if she was pregnant, she would have shot out babies. If she never was holding, you'll never see no baby. I did that before, and I think I'm gonna do a video about that a little bit more on cleaning out your live bear females to breed back into purity or your crossbreeding because I'm trying to create my own strand, and I'm gonna do an update about that of swordtails. In the female Platys, I had to clean them out for 90 days. That means I had to keep them in a separate tank away from any males for 90 days. That's all. Um, if they produce babies, they produce babies. If they don't, they've been cleaned, they haven't been holding from any males. That's a young, that's actually a young female too. Feed them well and everything, and then I'll introduce them, and we'll get more into that video later. But if you're creating a pure strain, you want to clean them out and everything. 90 days they could hold and everything. They create big groups of fries. Depends on the variation you got in the type. I mean, you can get groups of 20 to 80, 90 babies. But the most important thing for you to breed is having plants for the fry to hide. So in these tanks, I got Java moss and I got some other plant. I'm not really sure, and that gives a lot for fry in your tank. And when I mean it gives it a lot of things for it, it's when your fry actually hides in plants. First, it's hiding from the parents. It can maneuver and swim away from the parents if the parents try to eat them and everything. Second, there's microscopic organisms that grow on your plants in your tank, and your fry will actually nibble on those and everything, and actually even nibble on the plant and everything, and it will help them, thrive for you to produce a fish. So more coverage you got, more space like that and everything, you got coverage. The plants will actually give a lot of for a fry and everything. And not only that, it helps the water quality of your tank because you have plants in there too, and they're breeding and you're creating baby and parent fish and baby fish create baby and parent poop, and everything could go out of whack in your tank, and that's too how you could lose a lot of your fish. You wanna do at least 10% water change every week or 25 every 2 weeks. So you got a 10-gallon every week, change out a gallon. Water changes, keeps the quality of your tank 100% and everything, good filtration, all those normal conditions for breeding. But yes, for live bears, you want to keep plants because that's where your fries are going to hide and do very, very well and everything. So that's pretty much a simple, in-depth explanation of keeping and breeding live bears, guys. I mean, they are a great fish to keep in your tank and everything. Like I said, the colors, the variations, the different things you can actually do with them. They're a great fish to have. So live bears are amazing, even though people like to put them in the beginner fish category. They're actually just a easy, beautiful fish to keep in your tanks. And if you want to do some breeding and play around with some crossbreeding, especially with a lot of people even do it with guppies. Guppies is really known a lot. You got a cobra and then you have some other fish with some cool fins or they're Dumbo, and you decide to cross them to create this Dumbo Cobra or something like that. And people start creating their own strains and naming them all crazy names, and it's pretty cool to see the different combination. I mean, when you see like mixed guppies, that's that's what you see. It's just a whole collage of colors and mixed guppies and everything. And that's the fun thing about keeping live bears and everything and breeding them. So many different color variations. You can actually do some really nice tanks with those fish, and you'd be surprised how good they look. You know, I know saltwater and African cichlids have the big titles, you know, big colorful fish, but live bears have a lot of color and a lot of attitude to them. They, you know, you can set up a real beautiful 20, 30-gallon tank with some nice live bears in there, and it would look amazing. If you scape it, you know, make it look good. Um, Guys, that's everything today. You know, quick little short live stream today, just about live bears, keeping them and breeding them. And I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream and see you guys next week. Have a blessed day.